Convention. And I would first like to give the floor to Mr. Elgun Safarov, who is also the country rapporteur. Mr. Safarov, you have the floor for 6 minutes, please.
Madam Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me warmly welcome Her Excellency Madam Larisa Belskaya, Permanent Representative of the Republic of Belarus to the United Nations Office, and honorary delegation members of the Belarusian government. Витаем, добро пожаловать. Your Excellencies, Belarus traditionally develops family and women policy, implementing many awareness-raising projects on the prevention of trafficking, women empowerment, organized several international conferences on women in entrepreneurship and science, adopted several legislative acts on women's rights protected during these years. State policies based on supporting demographic situation and implementing national standards on human rights protection. At the same time, I appreciate the state party activities for the harmonization of the legislation and measures including for the adoption of international standards. Belarus is in the 55th place on the Global Gender Gap Index 2022. At the same time, government including 2 voluntary reports, especially to the Sustainable Development Goals. But at the same time, CEDAW Committee witnessing multiple violations of women's rights. The state party has not comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation and specifically prohibits discrimination against women, including direct and indirect discrimination. Belarus have no specific standard along the standard-alone legislation on gender equality. All legal commitments towards ensuring gender equality and women empowerment are considered by the enshrined in the Constitution, the Family, Labor and Criminal Codes, a related legislation considered to be supported by the existence of the National Plan of Actions. Belarus does not have a law explicitly focused on ending all forms of gender-based violence, including domestic violence. We say about a special law. Sexual harassment in the workplace remains unaddressed by the existing legislation as a definition at the same time. Belarus labor legislation still contains provisions that prohibit women's engagement in specific sectors of the well-being. It's reduced it, but at the same time it still exists. While criminalizing rape of both women and men, it lacks an explicit criminalization of marital rape. At least it consists at this moment in the legal situation of the Belarus government and the Belarus legislation. The government has adopted 2 successive action plans on gender equality, while partly following the recommendations of CEDAW Committee. But at the same time, implementation of this gender equality strategies, it's not the same, because we have the national action plans, we have the standards on this point, but what about implementation of national legislation? On 12 February 2024, CEDAW published a decision on the communication, especially Belarusian national women detained in the prisons. And what kind of activities was done during this year, especially on these persons, especially adopted communication case. Today we will discuss during the dialogue questions on women political prisoners, human rights defenders, women in detention, journalists, women reprisals, violence against women and girls, equality in property, HIV criminalization, and different questions. But at the same time, there are so many problems in access for the justice directly, what we have especially from the reports. The accused women are often left completely unaware for the change against them or evidence being used. While the Criminal Procedure Code mandates that a lawyer must participate in special proceedings from the outset, if the accused does not appoint one, a lawyer is assigned through the regional state bar association. In the absence of the comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation, a definition of indirect discrimination, a universal ban of discrimination in all spheres of life, a requirement for mandatory anti-discrimination expertise is process of drafting regulations as well as effective remedies. One of the significant problems is implementation and protection of the rights of equal treatment and non-discrimination is a lack of effective mechanism in Belarus for considering claims of discrimination. At the moment, there is still no special body in Belarus that can consider cases related to discrimination against women. Only we have the court as an institution where we can go on this question, but no specific legal institution on the state ground. However, due to the fact that the positive and technical approach, there are many changes in the labor legislation, but at the same time we have the problems of HIV criminalization. As we know, Minister of Justice is responsible for administrating the bar exam appointment persons to all senior positions in the bar, initiating disciplinary proceedings against lawyers, and terminating licenses. Is it correct? Just for clarification, we need to get more information. Please provide statistic data on women lawyers deprived of their licenses and faced administrative arrest during the last 5 years. Women prisoners, especially political prisoners, are highly vulnerable, lacking access to the legal aid and consequently to justice. We do not see as special activities. Maybe in your report we didn't get additional information, especially this woman and the women in detentions and women prisoners, especially which was done and must be implemented directly, the regulations and general recommendations of the CEDAW. The COVID-19 pandemic has also had a significant impact on the access to justice. Many court decisions took place in an online format, and the organization was fast and crumpled, which violates the rights of defendants to a highly quality examination of this case. And I will go to the special cases. What measures the state has taken to incorporate in the Constitution a definition of equality between women and men and prohibition of direct and indirect discrimination against a woman in the public and private spheres. Constitutional criminal codes did not include gender equality principle or the discrimination on the ground of the sex. Unfortunately, any plans to incorporate this norm to your national constitution and criminal codes and getting statistic data on the court's decisions? What mechanism for the protection against discrimination of women are available in the state party? When we say about the visibility of the convention, state web page and advocacy work, what including especially, because we didn't find in the web page of the, for example, Minister of Labor or special organization, CEDAW Convention, translated to the Belarusian language, for example. Maybe we are wrong. Please clarify this information. How many cases is the decision of judge referred to the CEDAW Convention? It's very interesting to get what the statistic data, including CEDAW Convention, is your legal decisions, especially court decisions. And the last question at this moment, please explain how the right to fair trial is ensured